What's up, YouTube? Bear with BearIndependent.com. Running into town to grab a few things, and I figured we'd have a little truck talk on the way in. One of the concepts that's been floating around in my brain recently is tribes, teams, mags, call it what you want. I get the question all the time, what's a MAG? Mutual Assistance Group. What does that mean? Exactly what it is. A group of people who mutually assist one another. But your tribe, right? Everybody who's spent any amount of time at this channel, more than a couple of days, knows that I'm a big proponent of tribe. I'm a staunch supporter of groups of people who are well trained and who have an iron will, who focus their intent on a problem and come up with solutions that allows them to, survive and thrive in TEOTWAWKI or whatever. So I'm not up for debating the usefulness of tribes. I've done that before many a time, and the fact of the matter is, it's just a losing argument. One-on-one lone wolf versus bear, yeah, you might get me. You might. Assign whatever statistical probability to that you would like, but you might get me. There's a possibility. Lone wolf versus Dunbar's number of 150 people, negative. Not happening. Get out of the road, dog. Dum-dums. Okay, so the golden age of tribes is, I believe, something that we are approaching. If not the golden age, a golden age of tribes, for sure. I think there's a huge potential for things to get sideways in the near future, 18 months-ish, which I've talked about repeatedly on video. You've got civil unrest. We know that there's going to be increased food prices due to availability. That's just simple supply and demand. You know, we're down 40% in yield thus far this year. Many areas of the country, it's July. Many areas of the country have not got their spring planting in, nor will they. The food that food eats, meaning hay and corn, is all going to go through the roof in a lot of regions because of the amount of rain that has been received. I have 5,000 square foot of corn myself that I planted just as fodder for my animals. That is, nothing will happen to it. In that 5,000 square foot, I've got maybe a dozen viable stalks because of the amount of rain that we've gotten. So, food scarcity, increased food prices, political issues surrounding 2020, coupled with economic collapse, or at least a softening in the economy. Everybody knows this is coming. You see a lot of discussion on the mainstream media sources these days. I mean, Fox News and CNN talking about the coming economic collapse. I'm like, that's, yeah, okay. Conditioning. The conditioning has begun. So, all of that being said, things are going to get more difficult, not less difficult for human beings going forward. Now, and let's just, brief side note, what if AI and advanced machine learning is put into play to combat the increased difficulties that we face? Okay, well, as you know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So we get more machine learning, more AI, that's fewer humans doing jobs, which creates its own issue, right? Which means there's going to be more humans who are in less ideal positions in life, who will all likely coalesce into tribes of one form or another. So that's kind of my thesis here. Plus, I've seen it work over decades of experience. Groups of people are generally, not always, but generally better at doing things than an individual is. So it's rare that there's a circumstance that requires an individual above and beyond a group. So anyway, I think we're entering into a golden age of tribes. People have formed groups throughout history. That's just a fact, right? Tribalism is something that dates back to the dawn of time, right? This group of people versus that group of people, or this group of people working in concert with that group of people towards a common objective. I really think that an economic collapse is coming. That economic collapse has a strong possibility to create localized interdependence of human beings in an area, meaning a community of people, a team, a group, a tribe, a mag, a community. The harder things get to acquire or produce, the more manpower will be required to maintain the same output. Okay, and so you need more manpower. Well, where's that coming from? Many hands make light work, right? And if you have a large enough group of people that are independent yet interdependent, and it is possible to have both, right? You can have a rugged individualist who is part of a larger group of people who, for example, engage in specialized labor. That rugged individual is the guy who checks the fences, and we only see him for 2 days of every 30, where he comes back in and resupplies and does the thing. Okay, we can make that argument. He's still functioning within a role of greater interdependence upon the community, because that guy's not growing a garden. He's not butchering animals. He's not mending the tack for his horse. He's not, doing all those things, reloading the ammunition on his press for his 357 lever gun or whatever, right? He's still dependent on a larger group of which he is a part of to a greater or lesser degree. But having a group of a certain size allows us all to engage in a little bit of specialized labor, which is good. Because I've tried it. To the best of my ability, there are not enough hours in the day to be a rugged individualist, a homesteader, butcher your own meat, plant and maintain your own gardens, maintain your own property, work on your own house, feed and clothe your own children, hang out with your own wife. And I'm not saying we need to be interdependent with each other's wives, but I'm saying if you need to have time for your family, I could see the gears spinning on some of you weirdos out there, and I'm grinning at you sideways. We need to be able to make enough time in the day to do all these things, and a way to do that is to have a large group of people working towards a common goal. Another thing that a tribe can do much better than an individual is project force. This is something that, there's strength in numbers. Yeah, there is. Because if there's one of me with a rifle and one of you with a rifle, other than training and the fight in the dog, it's more or less, a coin toss. If there's 150 of us with rifles versus one guy with a rifle, like I said, you might get me, but you're not getting me and all my friends. And so projecting force, both in a defensive role and an offensive role, meaning that maybe we need to pull stakes, or we need to send out a contingency, there's traffic coming over this way, and I looked this way and the word contingency came out of my mouth, and it's not the word I was looking for. We need to take some of our security forces and go out here into town, and we're going to render aid to a whole bunch of the locals over here, and engender goodwill. And then while we're doing that, we're also gathering intel. Okay. Well, if we have enough people, we can do that. And that in of itself is a show of force. When you have the things, the skills, talents, abilities, materials that other people need, and you go out into the community and disperse them freely, and, you're kind of seen as a hero, right? That's a show of force. That's strength. That's winning hearts and minds. And so it takes a larger group of people to do that than a handful of people. And I guess, lastly, and the end times shall be like unto the days of Noah, right? Well, there were tribes in the days of Noah, and there was much need for a tribe in the days of Noah as well. So, just something to ponder. I'm at my destination, so let's do directives. Directive 1, research the historicity of tribes. Historicity, big word. I would like for you yourself to just do a little Googling, research it. Yeah, don't take my words for it. Tribes have been a thing forever, and I submit that they will continue to be in perpetuity. And in your research, think about where might you best fit into a tribe? How would you serve a tribe? What can you bring to the table? And it's really important to understand here, we've had this discussion before, we will continue to have this discussion. Not everybody's a shooter, not everybody's a hitter, not everybody's part of the security force. Every able-bodied human being should be able to man a shovel and a rifle, says me. Aside from that, I don't want grandma running a rifle. I want grandma making pies and fixing socks and working in the garden, right? That's not grandma's job. If we get to the point where I need grandma behind a rifle, things have gone bad way before now, okay? So all of this deals with the auxiliary. The guys who hold rifles, just like that guy who goes out and checks the fence 28 out of every 30 days, he's dependent upon a group of people to produce and procure the things that he needs to enable him to do that job. So are all of your shooters, right? And so they're dependent upon an auxiliary. I did a really good Patreon post about this a while ago, within the last 30 days. So just because you're not a hitter anymore doesn't mean there isn't a place for you in the tribe. So think about where in the tribe you land. Directive 2 is to identify existing tribes and try them out. Now, tribes camouflage themselves in modern society in many different ways. They can be a sports team, group of sports team fans. They can be the PTA. They can be the local fire department, volunteer fire department. They might be your group of guys from work. They might be, the local LARPers and Dungeons and Dragons guys. It could be your local prepper group. Prepper groups do exist, and I would encourage you guys to continue creating them. There are tribes out there. Find them, try them out, and what you're looking for is in part people's enthusiasm to play the game of preparedness, but also for the content of character of the people that you're engaging with, right? I've made this mistake. You don't want people who are all gung-ho about preparedness, but who suck as human beings. I would rather deal with high-quality individuals first, and then shape and mold them into preppers of one sort or another, than try and deal with people who are all about preparedness and shape and mold them into good people. That's a hell of a lot of hard work. And then directive 3 is to develop skills that would be useful to a tribe, as we talked about. Figure out where you fit in, figure out the tribe that you're going to fit into, and then what does this tribe need? What does it need? What can I do for these people that will help them? Can I shoot? Cool. Also, what do I know about animal husbandry or rough carpentry or mathematics? Can I watch kids? Can I teach kids? Can I teach everybody else here that's in the group? Do I know how to can food? I mean, every skill is applicable to preparedness. It's just how you employ that skill. So figure out, what does the group need? Now, if you are, we'll just say you're really good at gardening, okay, but I've got 6 gardeners already, okay, that doesn't mean just because you're good at gardening that you're not going to be the full-time gardener. You'll help in the garden. You might also sweep and mop on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you're going to man a post, every Thursday from, 2 p.m. till whatever, 8 p.m., whatever, okay? Because that's what the tribe needs, not what you need, not what I need, that's what the tribe needs. And so while we do have our primary functions that we excel at, it's good to be cross-trained in many different things that you can flex into these different roles to better fill the needs of the tribe. Because without the tribe, there is no individual. Right now, we exist in a society that creates a much nicer environment for individuals. That'll be going away, right? Because we are all interdependent now. We just do a hell of a bad job of acknowledging it currently. And rather than exchanging favors and words of sincerity with one another, we exchange dollars. That's gonna go away. I need to put fuel in this truck, so I'm gonna do that. So yeah, a golden age of tribes. We're there. It's coming. I think it's only gonna get more conducive towards tribal mentality in the near future rather than less. So start doing the homework now while you can. This is not something you want to figure out after the fact. Speaking of tribe, Bear Nation, GoFundMe.com/Bear Nation. Good work going on in Oklahoma and Arkansas, spinning up for Nebraska currently. And yeah, all the things are going on there. So you can check us out there, GoFundMe.com/Bear Nation. Appreciate it. And then Patreon is the tribe here for us. $1 a month. I can say whatever I want to say there. No censorship from the YouTubes, man. No algorithm nonsense. No people getting unsubscribed from me. We had one of our moderators unsubscribed. He sent me a text message. It was like, bro, I'm like, you're a moderator. YouTube unsubscribed one of my moderators. Like, it's getting ridiculous, man. It's getting ridiculous. So at least for right now, we have none of those issues at Patreon. So, and as always, you can find us at bearindependent.com. Shalom and blessings, y'all. I hope that you guys do the research and get engaged, because it's about to get serious. Shalom.